What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Prolific Podcast. I just want to thank everybody who's liked, shared, commented, and subscribed to the channel. I do appreciate it. We're at 105 subscribers, so that's a big accomplishment for me, and for us, as growing as a channel. So I appreciate that. If you guys haven't, check out the last episode that we just released. I had a special guest on here. He showed us how you could change your life around, by going down the wrong path and choosing a different way of life. And now he's living life and with no, not looking over his shoulder, no regrets, and he's doing pretty good. So make sure you guys check that out. And thank you guys, like I said, all for you guys for showing loyalty and love towards the channel. And you haters that are watching that have not shared, like, commented, or subscribed, but you guys are viewing, please do so, bro. It's a full time job to hate, so this right here can get your haterism a little up. I'll give you a free Gatorade. I'm kidding, but yeah, if you are hating, just a little subscribe would be all right. But you know, today I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I've been wanting to push this episode out with you guys as well. It's just been a little bit hard because of work, but we're here now, so let's just focus on what we're doing now, right? Um, I want to talk about don't expect things from anybody, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm saying, like, in life sometimes we expect people to give us the same love or give us the same loyalty back, or give us the same attention back, and it's not like that, right? Um, you know, what I like to do is, like, I like to think about it like, you know, if you expect things from people, you're gonna expect a lot of disappointment. You're gonna have a lot of disappointment. Expect to have a lot of disappointment. That's the only thing I can tell you. Because if you expect things from people, they're most likely gonna let you down 9 times out of 10. And I'm not saying in a negative way. I'm just saying, sometimes they just can't pull through, or sometimes just they just don't show the same love that you show them, and that's just the way it is, right? For some reason I can't figure it out, so don't ask me to figure it out because I don't know what it is, you know. But I used to give a lot of effort towards my friends, a little bit of family, not really, but mostly towards my friends, and I would get mad when they wouldn't, reciprocate the same love, or do a favor for me that I did for them, and that would suck, man. I would be like, dang, but that was my fault for expecting it and not doing it from the heart, you know. I would just do it, counting favors, I guess you could say, and be like, hey, when I need him, he'll pull through. And sometimes life doesn't let us pull through. I'm not saying they didn't want to, maybe because something popped up or life popped up, but it didn't work out, right? So you know it's like you set expectations for people, and that's what really lets you down, you know, and puts you in a spot where you're like, dang, I showed so much love to him, and I thought he was gonna be my right hand man, and and the expectation is what lets us down the most. So I guess it's not their fault, it's mostly ours, right? Because we set an expectation and we expect the same thing. And I've learned that the hard way plenty of times, man, plenty of times. And I still get it. I ask myself, why can't I get it through my head? And I really don't understand why I can't get that through my head. But now I'm starting to learn, right? I'm starting to learn that sometimes it's just the way life is and the way it plays out, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, I expected so much love from my friends back then that like I said, I'd get mad, and that's the truth. I'm gonna give you guys an example here. So when I was 21, because when I was younger, like 21, I'm 28, so I'm not that old. But when I was 21, I would go to a lot, to the bars a lot, right? And I'd go out and I'd buy, buckets, shots, and bottles, and I would do all this stuff, man. And I would always be paying, bam, 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 not caring. I was, I think I was like 18 at the bar. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I probably was 18, but I had just gotten a job. I was doing pretty good for myself, at the time, and I was like, you know what? I'm making good money. Why not? Why can't I bust out with my friends, right? And I started like realizing, like, dang, I'm spending like $300-400 a night, every weekend, because I had every Friday and Saturday and weekends off. So I'm like, dang, every weekend I'm drunk and I'm out here spending money, and then I go buy food, and I was like, it's always me pulling out my card or my money to pay, and I started to notice that, right? So I was like, this ain't right. So one day I was like, you know what? They invited me out, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna see how this plays out. So I went out, and they're like, oh, what do you guys want to order? And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna order anything. I'm gonna sit back, relax. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna scope it out. Let's see who orders something that says I got it, and then I was like, okay, if they got it, then I'll match them. That's what I like to do. You buy a bottle, I'll buy a bottle. You buy a shot, I'll buy a shot. You buy a bucket, I'll buy the next bucket. Vice versa. You get one round, I'll get the other round, like that, right? So I was waiting. Nobody ordered, bro. I kid you not. Like nobody ordered anything, and I was like, that is crazy. Like no one's really gonna even like say, hey, bro, can you get it? Didn't even ask me. There was just nobody wanted to order. Like it was already like a routine for me to order the shot. And I was like expecting my friends to get my back one time to be like, hey, you know what? I see him paying a lot. Let us pay this time. I see him, buying the shots. Let us buy the shots one time. And I was like, damn, like they're not even, trying. So I said, okay. And me being petty, I guess I kind of I can still be petty in ways, but I was petty more at that time. I ended up saying, you know what? Give me one bottle. And I'm not talking about a bottle like alcohol. One bottle of beer. And I was buying them single handedly because I was paying for my own beer. Everybody started looking and was like, oh, like, Joe's not busting out. And it wasn't because I was, colo, which means like, tight with my money, or how do you say stingy. It's just that I started to see how the room was reacting and how it's changing. And I was like, dang, like these guys ain't even buying a beer for themselves. Like they expect me to give them a beer. I was like, no, like um, I don't want to be, rude or be a dick, but I didn't want to, be taken advantage of, and that's how I was feeling because I was like, dude, I expect you guys to at least, bro, buy a queso, buy water, water's free. Act like you paid for the water. You know what I mean? Something, but it didn't happen that way. And then there was times where my friends would be like, another example, my friends would be like, hey man, I didn't get paid this week. I don't have no money, my check, I spent it all on my bills, whatever. Can you get me? And I was like, you know what, bro? I got you. Just to go out with somebody, right? Just for my homies to come with me. I got you, bro. I'll buy you guys the entrance fee. I'll buy you guys the bottle. I'll buy you guys the beer. I'll buy you guys the shots. I'll get the grupo, for an hour, whatever. I was like, you know what? I'm down, because those were my homies, were my boys. And I was like, one day expecting, expecting and, putting an expectation that if I don't got it one day, they'll get me, right? And I did that. And, I just, I would sit there and I would be like, dang, like, I'm getting my boys. I got love for them and I care for them and I don't care. Money comes and goes, but it's like I started wondering, would they do the same for me? Because they didn't buy no bottles that one night, but I was down to take them out. But I said, you know what? It is what it is. That was one time. I'll let it pass. We'll keep going. And we're sitting there and we're all I'm paying for everything. Nobody says, hey Joe, I got you on the next one. None of that. Nobody said nothing. But I didn't expect that. At that time, I didn't expect it. I just expected one day when I don't have it, they'll get my back. So um, I saw this podcast a while back, and it was Fat Joe. And if you guys don't know who Fat Joe is, I'll put him up right here. Fat Joe's a rapper, or was a rapper. No, I think he still raps. He has a podcast now with Jadakiss, another rapper. And on the podcast, he said that he was always going on. When he's getting his money, he was always going on trips and taking like 50 dudes with him. Private jets, fancy ass dinners, bottles, expensive hotels. And he's like, man, he goes, all of a sudden I got all these friends that popped out when I'm starting to pay for things and everybody loves me. But would they do the same for me if if I didn't have it about that? And he goes, you know what? One day we're at a hotel and I was like, you know what? Call everybody inside the hotel. So he calls everybody in the hotel and he goes, hey guys, I'm broke. Like I don't got it no more. I don't got it like that no more. I spent all my money. Like, you know what I mean? We're gonna have to thug it out for a little bit. Maybe go back to trapping or do some other things. And all his friends were like, oh, how'd you go broke, bro? Like what? Like how did that even happen? And he started to see the room and the vibes changing around him, and started to see like guys ain't rolling with him no more because he don't have that money anymore. And he goes, only like 10 or 5 of them stayed. You know what, Joe? I was with you because I got love for you. I was never with you for the money, bro. This was just a perk because I was your boy, but I was always with you even when we didn't have nothing. And he's like, those 5, or I don't know if it was 5 or 10, those dudes that did that for me are still around to this day. The other dudes, they got cut off. They went back and went home and everything. But that goes to show some people are just around you because you got to bust out. Which bust out means uh to give, right? To give, like to spend money, to give, or anything like that. Some people always are willing to receive but never to give. And I was like, dang, that really hit me and got me thinking. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that one day. So my homie hits me up and he goes, hey, let's go to Joker's, and it's a nightclub that we have here. And I go, oh man, bro, like I didn't get paid today. I'm kind of broke. I was like, damn, like I want to go, like I really want to go, but I don't got no money right now until next week. And instead of him being like, which I expected him to say was like, don't worry, bro, I got you. Or you know what, I got you. Pay me back later. Or don't even worry about that, bro. Nobody even asked if you had money. Like I'm asking you to come. Let's go. He told me, no, pues está pelada. Like practically saying, oh, well, that sucks. And I was like, damn. Out of all the times that I got you, out of all the times that I bought bottles for you, out of all the times that I bought you food, I drove, I wasted the gas. Never once have I asked you for some money back. Never once have I told you, hey, bro, like, if you don't have no money, don't come out. I was like, damn, like, wow, like, stop it, Lala, huh? That's when I knew these days ain't my friends. You know what I mean? They're not my friends. And I don't want to sit here and say that you have to expect them to give you the same love, right? What I'm trying to explain to you guys is I put an expectation up here and I let myself down. I wasn't doing it from the heart. I was doing it because I was like, one day they'll get me. They'll get me. Now, if I do it, it's like it's from my heart, and it's you know what I mean. It's like, hey, you know what? I got you. Not expecting it to come back to me, and no, and don't expect it to happen every single time. But if I tell you I got you, it's because I got you. You know what I mean? So, I started to move a little differently. I started cutting people off, and it's okay to cut people off sometimes because you know what I mean. Some dudes are just on the train just to ride the train because the train's going fast. You know, and then sometimes the train slows down and people jump off. And you know what? The best thing to do is have them jump off before it slows down. So slow the train down by yourself. And what I mean by that is act like you're broke and you'll see how many people have your back. Say you don't got it today and let's see how many people actually hit you up and call you to go out. Say you don't got it and let's see how many people sit at your table or how many people invite you to sit at their table. And when I say sit at their table, I'm saying like bust out with you, you know? Then you'll really see who your real friends are. And the disappointment that gave me, it hurt, man, because I was like, dude, like I've never done that to you guys, except that one time that I didn't buy no bottles, I didn't buy no buckets. You know what I mean? And it was only because I started to see it, and I was trying so hard to be like, you know what? Maybe it's just in my head. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe it's just me. Like, but nah, like I seen it, And if I didn't see it then, who knows if I would have really not had it then, later on, and who would have had my back then? I'm glad that I got to see that at that time. Now, back then, I could tell you I had like 20, 30 friends. I have more friends that I can count. I shook people's hands so much that I can't even remember their names, bro. Some dudes will be like, remember me? I'll be like, yeah, and I lie because I don't want to be rude and be like, bro, I don't remember you. But I'll just be like, yeah, I remember you. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or like sound like, oh, I knew all these people, but I did know a lot of people, right? And it's like a lot of them only knew me, or a lot of them only messed with me because I was out partying and because I was buying stuff. My table was always full, and you can ask anybody that knows me personally. My table was always full, always full, always had buckets, always had drinks, and I got to the point where I stopped doing all that, and a lot of my friends that I expected to still hit me up, a lot of my friends that I expected to still have my back, they just walked away. But it is what it is, right? You live and you grow, and some people just can't jump on the train, like I said. And you know, I I used to look out for so many people, and I used to always break bread with so many people that now I'm like, you know what? There's only a select few that I could say if I didn't have it, they had my back, and most of them are family. You know what I mean? Most of them are straight fam. If they are homies, they're homies that were with me since the jump, and you know what? And some people that were with me since the jump, since I grew up with, are not even on my side no more for that reason, or because I don't want to pop out, or because I don't want to be spending. I don't want to be the one buying. There's one time I went to the bar and I seen these guys, and these guys were like, "Hey, let me buy you a shot." One of some homies that I grew up with. I said, "All right, cool, let's go." And he was gonna pay, and me, I'm the type that I don't like to let people pay. If you show initiative that you are gonna pay, I'm gonna try to beat you to it, and whoever wins wins, right? But I take out my card and I look back because I see an arm go over and pull his hand back, and his homie pulled his hand back and was like, "Nah, like let him pay," but he didn't see that I seen, and I was like, he's like, "Nah," like he made a face like let him pay, and I'm like, I didn't care. If, who cares? Fucking $30 shots. Who cares? But the fact that you had to sit there and like brush me off, like let him pay, like that. That's why I'm like, all right, like I see where you stand at now. You get what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I bought the shots, we took the shots, and I moved on because I learned it's not worth over fighting over $30. Come on, bro. Like really? And I'm not saying no names because I don't, you know, what I mean, I ain't with that beef stuff. I ain't with that no more. I'm already grown. I don't want none of that. You know, I'm chilling. It is what it is. Our past stories, so you guys can understand where I'm coming from. But that's how it was, you know. And I don't want to say it gets me mad, but it's like, damn, like sometimes it gets me sad because it's like those are dudes where I was like, man, I'll fucking, you know, I'll have their back till day one. You know, I always get them. You know, those are my boys. I always pay for them if they don't have it. Now it's like, where my homies at? You get what I'm saying? But you know, I used to always do it too for like, you know, when I would, you know, give out or give anything like that. I would always do it because I expected the same karma back. I believed in karma. I guess in a way I still do, but I believe that the same karma will come and give me back. And I'm not trying to beat the same thing up over and over again. I just want you guys to understand why I used to do things the way I used to do them, and then now I do them straight from the heart. Because you know, some people will do things for you and be like, "Oh yeah," but it's because they expect it back, right? And that's how I was. I think. I guess you could say that's how I was. I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself either, but it's like, you know, sometimes you just, you know, don't expect it, man. Don't expect it. You know, don't do things because you think they're gonna do it back to you. Just do things because it's from the heart. That's what I'm trying to, I guess, throw out there. And you could probably sit here and say, well, you just said right now that, you know, you were doing it because and you got mad because they didn't give it back to you. I wasn't that I got mad because they didn't give it back to me. I got mad because I did it every single time, thinking that one day they'll do it back. Now, like I said, now if I do it, it's here and there, and I'm doing it from the heart. I don't expect it again. It'd be dope for my homies to be like, "Hey, bro, if you don't got it, I got you," or not even, "Hey, bro, you don't got, hey, bro, I got you." That'd be dope, but it didn't play out like that, you know. And I get it, things get hard, and like things are hard out here, and I understand. You know, sometimes you just can't give the same love back. I understand that 100%. 100%. And I'm not hating. If you don't got it, you don't got it. And if, hopefully your homies are getting you, and one day you can get your homies just to get them back out of a good heart. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, but like Young Dolph said, my friend stopped talking to me the one time I told him no. Dolph said they love you until the one time you tell them no, and that's what happened to me. I told them no, or not even told them no. I just didn't buy anything, and a lot of them stopped kicking it with me. But they were just friends that I would drink with, right? And a little phase that I went through. But it's cool, I got love for everybody. I don't dread on it. I'm just trying to give you guys an insight of what I'm trying to talk about. And I talk about Dolph a lot because that's like not my favorite rapper, but like if you don't want to go to work, man, or you don't have that willingness to get your goals done, put on some Dolph or some Key Glock, and I promise you, you'll be leaving work and turning around and go back to work again. I remember somebody once told me, if you never want to be disappointed in something or a friend or a person, don't expect anything, and you'll never be disappointed. And it sounds simple, right? But it's like, how many times have you done something and you expected, oh, I'm gonna get paid? Or how many times have you done something and you expected, oh, this homie's gonna take me out to eat? Or done something and be like, oh, when I call him, he'll answer and he'll help me out. How many times? And then it happened. Now you're mad. Right now it's like, man, if my homie hits me up to go move this couch, I move this couch. I'm like, all right, bro, hit you up. I don't expect to be like, oh, when I move, I know how to call him. Nah, it's cool. I'm not really worried about it. If he tells me, hey, bro, when you need help with something, let me know. I got you back. That's cool. You know. But I try to figure it out myself before I ask anybody for help. And it's not because I'm kind of saying I don't expect it. I just like I know things are going on in life, and I don't want to bug anybody else with my stuff. But if there's one thing you could take from this episode is that don't expect anything back, and keep your peace. Don't expect anything back. Keep your peace, and just do things from the heart, man. Just do things from the heart, and always know that you're doing it because you're a good person, and that's what you want to do. Not because you're expecting maybe one day they'll help me out, one day they'll pay me back. No, just from the heart, bro. That's all I'm trying to be on right now. Is do it from the heart. because I wanted to talk about this episode because, man, I don't know how many times I've been let down, even nowadays. But it's like, you know what? I have to remind myself again and get myself back in that mode where it's like, don't expect nothing from no one, and you'll never be disappointed in life. Never. Like they say, you want something done, you got to get it done yourself. That's just the way it is. That's the way life works. If you got your girl or your wife, like my girl, she helps me out a lot. If you got your girl, your wife, that's good. You guys help each other out. That's good. I'm not saying that's expecting things, but that's just the way relationships work, right? And it's like, she asked me for something, I'll try to do my best to remember to do it because I'd be forgetting things like all the damn time. I'm always forgetting everything, and she's always getting mad at me. But that's just the way I am. I forget a lot of things. I think a lot of us dudes are like that, aren't we? But yeah, and liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. I said 150, and we'll give a giveaway. So whatever you guys want to give away, let me know in the comments. What would be cool? And I already know. Don't Ramon. Don't be Centenario. Don't be saying supercharger, turbo. I'm not giving none of that away, bro. That's crazy. I can't even give myself a turbo right now. And he's over there talking about, a turbo will be okay to give away. Nah, see, you're expecting too much. You're expecting too much. Don't expect it. No, but I want to do a giveaway because you guys have been showing a lot of love, and I appreciate it. And you know what's crazy? You know what? Let's go back real quick. You know what's crazy? When I started this podcast, I expected a lot of my close friends or friends that I knew to share this podcast, to comment, to subscribe, to like. And people I haven't talked to in years, they did that. They shared, commented, subscribed. People I never really hung out with are giving me props. Hey, bro, I love your podcast, man. Keep it up. People I barely met this year, last year, are giving me more props than people that I expected to give me props. You know, but I'm not mad. It's just like I expected it. See what I'm saying? And that's where I messed up. I was let down. I was disappointed. But now I'm just like, hey, you know what? I appreciate any love that I can get. I appreciate everybody that's giving me good feedback, and that's the only thing I can really hope for and appreciate from you guys. And the crazy thing about this is that you know, I work a lot. I try to fit the gym in. I'm trying to eat better. I'm trying to spend time with my girl. Dang, I don't know why always when I'm talking to you guys, burping, man. I get nervous. But I have a lot going on, and I still try to sit down and talk to you guys, and still try to pull these episodes out. And I'm asking for like sympathy or anything like that, or like when you guys want you to feel bad. But everything I'm giving you guys is truly how I'm truly feeling. I'm not putting a facade. I'm not lying. I'm not being a fugazi. I'm not doing any of that. Fugazi means fake. If anybody doesn't know what that means, it means fake. And you grow up in life, and you try to give these young dudes or these your friends your philosophy on things and your the way you think, and because some people have been through things more than anybody else has been, and you try to give everybody that knowledge, and some people don't want to take it, and that's fine, man. Don't take the knowledge for anything. Just watch the video and don't take nothing from it. That's fine. I hope you guys do, but if you don't, that's fine too. I don't expect anything. See what I'm saying? Everything comes back to not expecting it. But that goes to show that one thing too that I did that really helped me learn is don't expect anything from anybody. Is some people promise things in life and it doesn't fall through. So don't go off promises. Don't go off what people say. I swear to God, don't go off that. Just know what you know, and that's it. Keep what you know to yourself, and that's it. And that's the truth. Um, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode, though. Please, if you guys have not, please like, comment, share, because a lot of you guys are viewing but not liking. A lot of you guys are viewing but not subscribing. Like, what's going on? What's going on? Where the haters at? Why you guys hating? Please, please tell me why you always hating. I'm about to spit a flow for you guys. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So there we go. Like I said, we're at 105 subscribers. We got what? Dang, I can't even do math. 45 more to go. Let's go, guys. Let's get this giveaway going. It's gonna be something good. I promise. No turbo kit, no truck, none of that. So don't even no billets. I ain't doing none of that. So don't try to push all that because I already know Ramon's gonna be over there trying to tell people that. So none of that. But thank you guys. See you guys.